You want to kill a big dream? Tell it to a small minded person. Other people's limitations don't have to be your limitations. What's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them. Been getting active and hustling.
What's up? Back with another episode of the More Action Podcast. You know, what gets on my nerves when you go to tell somebody something and they just start telling you all of the reasons that you can't do what you just told them you were gonna do. And it's not their fault. I've come to realize it's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? I just hate that. You know, and to be honest, you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. Okay? I noticed that when you take an idea or, a vision you have to somebody that pretty much, to anybody, because nobody is you. If you have a vision, if you have an idea, that is yours. It was sent to you from God. It was yours when it came in your mind, and it's yours when it comes into reality. Should be. But what happens is we give our ideas and visions away to people to get validation for it, And not everybody does this, but some people are like me, and they like to express themselves, tell everybody what they're about to do. But everybody doesn't have the same mindset. Okay? So if you give a good idea away to somebody, all they're going to see is the negatives. If you've been spending time looking at all of the positives, all of the ways it go right, that's why you're in love with the idea. That's why the idea is yours in the first place. But you bring it to somebody else, and they hear for the first time, if it's impossible to them, if they can't do it themselves, if they can't see themselves doing that, and they're not on your side, they don't want to see you win. Maybe it's neither of those. Maybe they're just more concerned about themselves. They're going to default to all the negative outcomes and things that'll just honestly make you rethink the entire plan if you're not in the right mindset. That's why you gotta be careful who you tell your dreams and visions to. And if you are the type of person who can keep it to themselves and execute first, I applaud you. That's the goal. The goal is to be able to execute on ideas when you know it's the right thing to do. Not when other people validate you and say, yeah, that's a good idea. That sounds like it'll work. Matter of fact, I think we should go in, on that together and be partners, because people could steal your ideas or steal a piece of something that was rightfully yours, all because you opened your mouth. I remember my stepdad used to say, you could be the dumbest person in the room and nobody would know it till you open your mouth. That's something I'm getting better at, but it doesn't stop me from coming on here every Tuesday and telling y'all how to fix your credit. Ooh, I gotta come at you with a little something every week. Last week I was in Tampa, learned a lot about business. Yes, I created an offer, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about finding my offer. My offer will find you. Okay, so be ready. Be ready, for those of you who are serious, for those of you who really want to, speed up the process, really understand and know like the back of your hand everything there is about fixing your personal credit score, getting business credit together, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 worth of credit is sitting on the other side of the information you don't know yet. So, with that being said, today's video is a little bit about not letting people put their limitations on you. You know, I did that whole breakdown. You know, you can't let people take away your vision. If you have a plan, if you have an idea, you got to go for it without the validation of others. Don't let people put what they can't do, what they don't see themselves doing, their limitations on you. Don't put your limitations on me, man. I can do it because I see myself doing it. I don't need you to tell me that I can or can't do it. I'm gonna do it because I see it. I'm gonna find a way. That's the attitude. But that being said, it's also partially about credit stacking. Is a term I used back in, I think, the 3rd episode. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of my YouTube after you subscribe and watch I think it's episode 3, about credit stacking, my credit stacking story. But I'm not going to do the whole story like I did in that video. What I'm going to explain in this video is the 3 credit bureaus you need to know. Now, you may not have seen some of the videos before this one. So for those of you who don't know the 3 credit bureaus, they are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Okay, all 3 of these credit bureaus work with specific banks. Not all of them are tied to each other. So for example, Navy Federal Bank is with TransUnion. American Express with Experian. And I believe Discover is with Equifax. I might be wrong or right on that last one. But the point is, different banks work with different bureaus. And if you are strategic, if you take the time to understand which bank pulls from which credit bureau, pulls meaning checks your credit report, you will get a hard inquiry. A hard inquiry when you apply for credit. So if you apply for credit for a card from Experian, and then one from Equifax, and then one from TransUnion, or 2 from each, you're only going to receive that many inquiries in total, because these credit bureaus don't communicate with each other too well. 50-60% of the time, 75% of the time, the information across the board is accurate. But the other 30%, the other 40% of the time, the information across the board isn't accurate. So if you apply for 2 credit cards with banks that pull from Equifax and 2 credit cards that pull from banks with TransUnion, and the same with Experian, on your credit report, you potentially will only have 2 to 3 inquiries, because of the fact that all of these credit bureaus don't communicate. They are just private owned companies that work for these banks and report when you have late payments, owe money, and you understand the laws behind what makes your credit score, what the credit bureaus are actually allowed to do, and what they're not allowed to do but doing anyway because you haven't done anything about it yet. You'll understand that you can do certain things in a strategic way that will keep your credit report nice in the first place, but then you can also just go delete what you need to delete, which will also bring up your credit score. All of this to say that you can do a lot to bring up your credit score, and credit stacking is one thing you can do. It will increase the credit availability you have by however much credit you can handle, to be honest. 50,000, 80,000, 100,000. And if you continue to spend the same amount of money you already were with your current credit cards or with your debit cards, don't like to use debit cards. I'll explain that in another video. But if you were to use the same amount you always use anyway on your credit cards and increase the availability, your utilization will go down, which will also increase your credit score. So increase your availability, decrease your utilization. Don't overspend. You do those things with this credit stacking method I just explained, and you could definitely raise your credit score 30, 50 points. I've seen it happen to my own credit score. You don't want to apply for too much credit at one time. You don't want to look, thirsty to the credit bureaus. But it's okay to apply for credit over, the 2-year, 4-year span. Take your time. Be patient. Because the things you do now, you'll thank yourself later on in life that you did it. Because life is long. People say life is short, but in my opinion, life is long. We got, I'm 20, 27, and I know that I got a lot of years ahead of me. So I got to do things now that'll make 37 even more fun, 47 even more fun, more, amazing, extravagant, luxurious. You know what I'm saying? It's another episode, the More Action Podcast. It's Brandon J. And don't forget, other people's limitations don't have to be your limitations. When you got a good idea and you see a lot of small-minded people talking down your ideas and trying to tell you can't do things, learn to keep your mouth shut a little bit. Keep them ideas to yourself. Execute. Take more action first, and then let them see the results. Until next time, it's Brandon J. More Action Podcast. Peace.